We're going to this bioethics conversation out of University of Pennsylvania. Share this. Share.
With Moreno, I'm professor of medical ethics and health policy at the University of Pennsylvania. In April 2016, our department decided to hold the first annual BioEthics Film Festival, a celebration of the way that ethical issues are raised in the movies. One of the films that we showed is called Transformation. It's a documentary about the life and work of EST founder Werner Erhard. After the film, I sat with Mr. Earhart and we talked for about an hour about his ideas, about his career, about his work, the way that the controversies about EST and the accomplishments of EST affected the society, and what he's been doing since the early days of EST. We think that this discussion really illustrates the way that it's possible to look back at major social change, a big event in the history of our society, a fascinating attempt to understand what is the self and ethical issues that are raised when we try to understand who we are, and also the issues that are raised when there are these efforts, in this case, a big effort to understand how other people affect us and how we can change ourselves, how we can undergo a transformation. In this case, one modeled by a particular well-known and controversial individual, Mr. Earhart himself. So we hope you enjoy the discussion, and we look forward to seeing you at the next BioEthics Film Festival in 2017 at Penn. Ladies and gentlemen, who made good, Werner Erhard.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. You're very kind.
I have a feeling some people know about you. So I want to not forget to do a couple of things. Please remind me. First, let's talk about how you feel about the film 10 years later.
Yeah.
I want to talk about what you've been doing in the last 10 years, bring it up to date. I want to also tell everybody here that Werner and I will be having a conversation. If you would like to ask Werner a question, raise your hand, get the attention of one of my colleagues, and you will be given a piece of paper and a pen, a souvenir pen from BioEthics, a pen, BioEthics pen, and I will then read as many of them as I can, make it as efficient as we can. I want to explain to my colleagues who are here from my department, it's a confession. The reason I wanted to have a BioEthics Film Festival was to get a little time to hang out with Werner. My wife will tell you that is actually true. Now, but we have had many conversations. Probably nothing I will ask you is something we haven't talked about. But I do want to share with the group how you and I got connected. I'm professor of bioethics and Werner Erhard.
Yeah.
So I grew up as the son of another controversial person who is a psychiatrist who founded the field of psychodrama, was the first person to use the term group therapy. Many of his ideas were taken by the human potential movement, among the disciplines that Werner was interested in the 60s. And he died in 1974 at the age of 85. And he was a controversial person. A lot of stuff got thrown his way, and I, as a son, observed it. And then in the 70s, I started reading about Werner. Now, I've never done the training, but I was doing group therapy training at that time. And I think, maybe I'm wrong, that I kind of got est reading about it. I know it's not the same as doing it. I know. We're doing it now. I hope I know my asshole from a hole in the ground, by the way. We'll find out. But having observed my dad, getting a lot of criticism, having his ideas cannibalized by the culture, then you came along. And what interested me, even when I read about, I think it was the New York Times Magazine story, which I think it was in the Times Magazine. And I said, I don't know what's going on with this guy or what he's doing, but he is the target of so much invective. It seems so over the top. And so a lot of the film is about this. I made a stupid joke last night about locking people in a room and having no bathroom breaks. And of course, then there's the brainwashing and so forth. A lot of it has been said. I want to get, how does it feel to you now? It's what, 43 years? How does it feel to you now? Is there anything new to add to this, or is it just all the bullshit?
Jonathan, for me, I really hate saying nice things because it's too easy.
Yeah.
But I just have to tell you that what it's about for me is what happened in the lives of the people who participated in the programs. And what it's about even today is what happens in the lives of people who participate not in EST anymore, because that's part of the past, and not even in Landmark's program, although I have a little bit of consulting to do with that. But now, when I deliver a lecture in a university at a business school about the difference that real integrity actually makes, and I'll get a letter back from a guy, a businessman, who didn't start out using integrity in his business, but got there through an interaction, a matter of integrity with his son. And that's where that all lies for me. And I think a lot of what was in the media was misrepresentation. But so what? You don't like the heat? Don't go in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So I didn't want what I did to be an extension of what was already there, to make it better, to make it easier, to make it anything as an extension of what was already there. And if you are going to step outside the 9 dots, as they call it, you're going to have controversy, and too bad.
Part of the ball game.
Yes, exactly.
So a few years ago, when I was about to write this book about my dad, I had breakfast in Philly with a mutual friend named Paul Zach, who was an economist at the Claremont Graduate School. And he knew some about my dad's stuff, and I said, I'm going to write this book. And he said, well, that's great. Why don't you talk to Werner? And I knew he was talking about. I said, well, I don't really talk to him. He said, I can get to the Werner. 3 days later, we are having this email, and it really struck me that you were so open, because I had seen what had happened. And I thought, well, that's very interesting. And then we had a fantastic first meeting in New York a few years ago.
Yep.
Then there was a few months ago the New York Times piece. Terrific. And I thought, got it right.
Yeah.
And now, as many of you know, there is a series called The Americans. Anybody watching The Americans? About an embedded KGB couple in the 1980s in Northern Virginia. And they go to an EST, one of them goes to an EST meeting, 3rd or 4th season. And I'm watching, I'm thinking, oh shit. This is bad, And the truth is, now, what is the 5th season? Help me out. It's the beginning of the 5th season. 4th? And the truth is, so far, they're quite respectful, right? And I find that very interesting, because it seems to me, I'm interested in history of science like you, every generation reinterprets what happened. And I think as the confusion between the target Werner Erhard and the work begins to clarify, it's easier for people to see what's going on.
Yeah.
I think that's right?
Yes,
that's
I
sort
do.
of what's been said in the film.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, you know, it was the transition, for example, from S to the forum was a transition in the culture as far as I could tell. That the kind of the kind of force required to get past where people were at in the 70s was simply not had their feet on the ground a great deal more, thoughtful in terms of what, instead of some kind of magic, what was available with what was available grounded in what I could see for myself, rather than what I couldn't see but I could believe in. So that made the transition to the forum make sense.
So as you look at the film now, and you said, you just told me to walk out, you hadn't seen the whole film at once?
No, I had.
You know, what's your gut reaction?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I can remember interacting with the people I saw me interacting with. I can remember those people. And I have to tell you, that's a very moving experience for me.
Yeah.
To see the courage, wow, that of people willing to be straight about what they've been crooked about in the past, even though most people wouldn't characterize it as being crooked. But, you know, again, to be Werner Erhard-ish about it.
To come to grips.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do the Werner Erhard, but I can,
So I was moved by that. I thought that the people who were critical were good at doing what they did. They made the right kind of questions. I think that they posed them as answers, unfortunately, but it was certainly, you know, was this a cult? Now, I'm not going to give all the defenses about that because I think it's irrelevant, but it was important, for me at least, to keep up in front of me is what I'm doing somehow leading to some sort of a cult. And I have to tell you that the answer for me is no, looking at it as hard as I know how to look at it. Yeah, I think people, you have a transformational experience, and it's very difficult to keep it to yourself. And it's kind of like the time I got an opportunity to work with what we called at the time Youth at Risk, which program continues to today, to see what happened with young gang kids, I mean literal gang kids, when the possibility of making a difference in other people's lives, what that did with them and how committed they became to that possibility. So what am I saying? I'm saying that I think a transformational experience to go through a moment after which you are left free to be and free to act, to be able to, so I'm going to say it as straight as I can say it. When you can leave behind the way you wound up being, when you're free to choose beyond the way you wound up being, that is so powerful an experience that you're likely to become over-enthusiastic about it.
So when I was, I think I got that. So I was thinking while I was watching the movie about something we talked about the first time we met. We were talking about the various human potential experiences of the 60s, and I asked you what you'd done and what you'd seen and so forth. And in particular, I mentioned primal scream. And I had witnessed, I think I told you this, 1973, a group primal in Zurich, at the University of Zurich, during a group psychotherapy conference. And essentially, it's 24 people in a room of about 50, 60 people, sitting around in a circle, screaming. And the phrase that the leader is a Dr. Casriel, famous psychiatrist, who was doing this demonstration, told them to repeat again and again in the circle was, "I hurt too. I hurt too. I hurt too. I hurt too." And the results were incredible, right? Hysteria. After the event, I went out with the college friend that I was there at the conference with, and we ran into 3 youngish people from Germany. And the girl, who was a graduate student, all of them were, 2 guys and a girl, was very upset. She had not been in the inner circle. She was just in, and they were trying to comfort her. And it really made a big impression on me in terms of the power of the experience. However, you said to me, which I think was very, very good, I never wanted to leave anybody raw. It was the lack of completeness that was the problem, in my view.
Yeah. And that's right. You know, just watching with the young woman who,
The orphan.
the
ex-orphan.
Yeah, that's right, the ex-orphan. To have, you know, I don't know, I don't know what it takes to step into, and because she was obviously really fragile
And really in pain.
Yeah,
I mean, you
and
could
deep pain. Yeah,
sure-
yeah. And it was interesting to watch the posture change
Yes.
until she walked up onto the platform at the end.
Which people are now being taught to do, particularly women, as you know, in business schools, right?
yeah.
Change the posture.
Yes, yes. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. No, I shouldn't discuss fake it till you make it.
No, well,
Okay.
whatever. If you want to go there, it's okay.
At any rate, there are certain things that I think you have to be willing to be responsible for when you step into people's lives. And for sure, one of the things you need to be responsible for is to not let people, don't step out and leave them in a raw place. Now, with when we do this leadership course, I talk to them about, look, you can step away from a person when you have what I call the hook set. And what do I mean by that? You know, that's tough language, but what I mean by it is when a person has started to deal for themselves with the conflicting views, i.e. the one they walked in with and the one being presented to them, when they're starting to take a look at, they're oftentimes better off on their own. But you damn well better not forget who they were, so that you're watching to see that they are moving along with whatever it is that they got left with.
So that actually brings me to a conversation I was having with a friend who had the training 10, 15 years ago, when she was at a very bad time in her life. Serious illness, little kids, marriage failing. And she went to the training, and I said, so what'd you come out with? And now, you know, it's really an impolite question, right? Because who cares?
Yeah.
Right? I know Werner Erhard would say, that's not a good question. But nonetheless, I asked. And she said, it was fear. It was just fear. You know, that's what it helped me deal with, was fear. Yeah. And that is so primal. Right? It's more primal than anxiety, which to me is somewhat more intellectual.
Yeah.
Fear, I mean, fear is just, it's right here.
Yeah.
So talk about fear. Talk about how you dealt with fear, because a lot of what the people you were working with were dealing with was fear, ultimately, of giving up the story.
Yeah. And Jonathan, for me, I think that fear is pretty close to universal. I mean, you can't get more basic when you're talking about survival.